Okay. I'd like to call to order the council meeting for November 3rd, 2021. If we would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I guess it was the first real crisp fall day, and it was another beautiful day in Concord Township. First item on the agenda is the approval of the public meeting minutes of October 5th. We have a motion to do so.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is to authorize the total expenditures for the month of $849,442.07, which consists of an October payroll of $155,442.84, current bills totaling $484,609.96, and current sewer bills totaling $209,389.27. Do we have a motion to approve those expenditures?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pennsylvania State Police, I think she was coming. If she gets here, we'll go right to her, but we'll move on in the agenda. Sewer Department report. John, do you have that?
Would you like me to give you?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
sure. The monthly activity report for October is from Terry Grant, our assistant manager. Both the main plant and Riviera plant continue to meet discharge requirements within the parameters of the NPDES permits. The operations staff performed 8 lateral inspections for resale certification during the month of October, and we're waiting on a PennDOT permit to perform rock borings in the right-of-way along Concord Road. We finalized the bidding documents for the Concord Road North Sewer Project. That's the end of the report.
Thank you. Building and Code Department, in October of 2021, there were 84 total permits issued, which compares to 48 for the same month last year. There were 17 resale certifications, and in October of 2020, there were 22. Other than that, at Maris Grove, there's renovations to the existing building's main lobby. The Cherry and Medical Building on Baltimore Pike across from Joseph Anthony is completed but vacant, waiting for tenants. And Astoria, which is the building along Route 202 as you're coming out of Delaware, the framing work continues. That's the end of that report. Next on the agenda is the Planning Commission. We have a memo from them here, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get to it here. Oh, there it is, okay. Planning Commission recommended approval of JZ Realty Management, LLC, and 630 and 688 Featherbed Lane, Chetty, at their October 18th public meeting. They assigned other subdivisions to project managers, granted extensions to 823 Shavertown Road, Ferrera, and also to the Governor Markham project. They issued a letter regarding the William Penn Penwood Winery proposed text amendment to the township, and their agenda meeting is scheduled for November 8th, and their regular meeting, public meeting, will be November 15th of 2021. Township Solicitor.
Yes, please be advised that all the briefs have been filed with respect to the Concord Ventures litigation, and argument is scheduled with Judge Whalen on November the 19th. Thank you.
Okay. Township Engineer.
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, a few updates for you, everybody, tonight. Working with Public Works and PennDOT, we are in the process of doing some striping and signage updates. This includes at the trail crossing on Temple Road, as well as the intersection of northbound 2 and Smithbridge. We're going to clearly delineate the shoulders there. Too many cars have been using those when they should not be. We also are restriping the intersection of 202 and Ridge in front of the Whole Food Shopping Center. That just kind of became dilapidated over the years, so just cleaning that one up. And we'll be installing stop bars on Shavertown Road at Martin's Court and up and down Schoolhouse Lane, as we had discussed previously. We are also working with PennDOT and looking at what enhancements we can make for the 2 pedestrian crossings on Concord Road at Riviera at Concord. We'll be sending some correspondence to PennDOT hopefully this week, and then based on their feedback, most likely set up a meeting with the HOA there and discuss what we can and can't do to kind of help improve the pedestrian safety at those crossings. A couple other brief updates. I had a meeting with the Bike Coalition of Philadelphia on Friday, and I've asked them to meet with myself and Amanda in the near future just to have a larger conversation about bike options here in Concord Township, kind of the suburban and rural context where we could maybe upgrade some facilities. The landscaping with KMC's contract is complete. Over the past month, they've replaced a lot of the dead landscaping, especially on the 202 corridor, and done the remaining maintenance required as their contract. We had the final payment tonight, and then going forward, the maintenance responsibilities will shift to Public Works and or subcontractors. And last one real quick was I did meet with PennDOT on the Concord Road Bridge. There is a bridge on Concord Road west of Fox Hill Farm that PennDOT will be replacing in the near future.
You mean Smithbridge?
I'm sorry, Smithbridge Road. Yes, sorry. I wrote down Concord Road. They already did that one.
They did that already.
Like, that one's done.
Very similar to that one. So they will not give us a schedule. We're still going back and forth. Obviously, we've got our large Smithbridge Road project that's funded by PennDOT. We have asked PennDOT person over here and the person over here to talk, help us sort out the schedule so we're not, doing both things right at the same time. So more to come on both those projects and the schedules. And as soon as I get more information, I'll certainly pass it along to everybody.
Okay. Any questions for Nate?
Nate, could you look at the stop bars at Concord Road and Matson Road? When I was out there today, it seems like that sort of on all 4 ways of that intersection, they could use some refreshing.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none, I see Trooper Tobin has joined us. If you would like to take the podium. We moved ahead and perfect timing. We're either going to hear you or Amanda, and you have my vote.
Hey, now.
Yeah, I apologize.
You have a gun, too,
At the
so.
Wawa, right up the street from our station, so I apologize.
No problem.
So I'm going to be brief tonight. So for the incidents that happened last year, I'm just going to go over those. We had 64 crashes all in all that occurred throughout the township, 3 DUI arrests, and we had 117 traffic stops that we made proactively. As far as the criminal incidents in nature that we handled, there was a burglary that occurred in the township. We had 3 criminal mischiefs, 11 thefts that occurred, 14 retail thefts, which have just been skyrocketing lately, and I don't foresee them going anywhere anytime soon because Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming, so 'tis the season, unfortunately. And then we had 6 thefts regarding fraud and forgery scams. I do want to share one significant incident that our troopers handled out of our station. This happened on October 15th. It was at 1 a.m., so it was on our midnight shift. We had 2 troopers that conducted a traffic stop on Smithbridge in 322. And during the course of that traffic stop, the operator was found to be in possession of marijuana. Then we had another front seat passenger, same thing, in possession of a small amount of marijuana. And then there was 3 additional passengers in that car. So the operator and the passenger were detained in that car and subsequently taken into custody. Consent search was, asked and declined. As a result, we were getting a canine out there to conduct further investigation. Meanwhile, one of the passengers, the rear seat passengers, jumped in front, got possession of the car, pursuit initiated. At that point, we lost sight of the vehicle. We took, like I said, the passenger and the operator in custody. Subsequently, about an hour later, so it was like 2:21 in the morning, one of our troopers at the Philly station was able to have sight of that vehicle on 95 North in the area of mile marker 8.4, so it's in Tinicum Township. Fortunately, he was able to get up to the vehicle, try to perform a traffic stop. Another pursuit was initiated. Fortunately, the vehicle tried to get off 95 south by the Philly International Airport. Unfortunately, that vehicle slid into the guide rail, and that operator actually was taken into custody, no significant injuries to police or the operator. So that was great. However, when we took custody of that vehicle, we performed a search warrant, and subsequently we ended up discovering 2 loaded firearms that had 30-round magazines that were fully loaded, 3 cell phones, additional marijuana, and those firearms are being processed for possible involvement in other crimes. So I'm happy to be able to share that significant incident with you all. And also, November 30th, which is, I believe, a Monday, we have Trooper Michelle Knapp joining us. She will be taking my old role as a CSO. So when she starts effective that day, I will ensure I coordinate with the board to have her come down so you guys can meet her. I worked with her for 4.5 years in Philadelphia. She's a gem. She's a ball fire. So I have no doubt that she will be good in this role. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. And then, with that being said, if you guys have any questions,
I have
always.
one. You mentioned about the burglaries and the holiday season coming. I think in the past, maybe you have provided it to us that we distribute through our listserv, but a lot of people will go shopping and will leave their valuables on the front seat, and then we get a lot of the break-ins of the windows. Is there anything that the state police has that might tell people how to better protect their property while they're shopping?
Yeah.
And maybe we can post that if council agrees on our website to share that information with our residents.
Yeah, of course. I will make sure that we pass that. I don't think anything came out yet, but every year we always have fresh material given the circumstances of the uptick surrounding around the state. So as soon as that information comes out, if it doesn't come out in the next week, I'll put something together for everybody.
Okay, fantastic.
Sure that's out.
John, I'm sorry.
Trooper, could you speak to some of the recent incidences or reports of incidents on social media regarding potential abductions or attempts or things like that? I know the one was at the Sunoco gas station, which is not technically Concord Township, some other instances at Target, Wegmans, things like that. So I know that, I believe those have been investigated, but could you just sort of speak to where things stand?
Sure, absolutely. So all of those incidents that you brought up, our crime unit went out and conducted each separate individual investigation for the calls that we received, because initially with some of the incidents that happened, we never received a telephone call into this. For example, I'll give you the one at Acme. A call was never received on our behalf. So once we conducted further investigation into each separate incident, we made contact with one of the involved parties that seemed to be an ongoing pattern, so to speak. So it was the white male that everybody was pretty much posting all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc. So once we made contact with him, we were able to determine that there was actually no evidence to dictate that there was any type of whether it was a physical contact or attempted abduction. Surveillance actually shows at each one of those locations where the incident was alleged to occur that unfortunately some alleged victims were falsifying and elaborating what actually happened. So, rest assured that at this point there is no threat to the public regarding any of the circumstances that were brought to light on social media. The original post was taken down by that victim. Unfortunately, the stories have changed, and it's just got into something where it really fabricated evidence. So once we were able to sort through all that, we came to a solid conclusion that none of the incidents that were brought to our attention were of any investigative value.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. I'm glad
Sure.
to hear that those results. Of course, we all know that social media is very powerful, and unfortunately, folks can get very scared, especially if they do perceive a threat. And of course, we want to be responsive to those things and not ever dismissive of them, but in the right way. So appreciate your looking into that and making that report public.
Thank you.
Mr. President, one more thing. Last week, we were at one of our communities here, Fox Hill Farm, for an HOA meeting, and the residents there informed us that they had seen significant speeding on Smithbridge Road in the school district area. And I believe Amanda's sent some information, and since then they've done some patrolling out there. But it seems to be, a recurring issue about the speed on some of those roads, and stopping for school buses is probably another good reminder when the red lights are on, to have our residents make sure they're stopping appropriately to make sure that everybody's safe. But if we could do some, keep that on a list of some surveillance for keeping the speeds
Under control, right. So we do periodic, school zone enforcement throughout the coverage areas in the 5 townships and 2 boroughs that we cover, but I will for sure make sure that Smithbridge Road, that area is brought to attention, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we conducted, I don't know if it was last Wednesday or the Wednesday prior, for Operation Safe Stop for Garnet Valley School District. We always team up with them every year to conduct that detail. So I know we did that for sure, and there was another detail that was conducted separate of that, but I will make sure that we, show extra attention to that, and I'll bring that to the attention of my lieutenant. However, with that being said, if there is like certain problematic days in the week, and I think we talked about that, like certain times, or maybe Fridays or Thursdays, etc., if there's something that draws more attention where violations are occurring, if you could send that over, just so we can make sure that we're showing most attention to the problematic days and times of the weeks in which it's occurring.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
One more quick question. Now, the thefts that happen in our township, are they mostly commercial, retail thefts, or household thefts, or home thefts?
Retail.
Retail. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you for coming out. But now we have to listen to Amanda. Township Manager's report.
The mic's always on over there. Thank you so much, Super Tobin, for coming out. As the daughter of a Marine Vietnam veteran, I'd be remiss if I did not announce that they are having the American Hero Memorial Service Ceremony this Sunday at 3:00 p.m. So I hope folks come out and attend. I go every year with my family and my children, and it's quite lovely. And it's important for us to remember those who have served, who are serving. So I encourage folks to attend that. Additionally, I just wanted to give an update. There was apparently some social media buzz about the bocce ball courts. So I just want to let folks know we're still finalizing those. We're trying to get the grass around the courts, some things to take. We had some grading and things done in that area, so it's real soft. We're putting in some final signage. And additionally, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned again that this was something that came out of our Voice Your Vision workshops that we had. Someone had brought up, there's a group of special needs children in town who are playing bocce, and it's my understanding some of them might even be looking to do that for the Special Olympic opportunities. And they were playing, the place they could play, I think, Dominic, they said, was at Maris Grove, and they were really looking for municipal courts. Council felt like that was something our public works staff could do, and with a little help from the engineer, we were able to kind of get those moving. So we're working on a grand opening there. We just need the ground to be stable and to get that going. So I just wanted to bring that back up. Thanks.
Okay. Public forum, public comment. Anyone with any comments regarding anything on the agenda or any other issues before the township, please come forward and identify yourself with your name and address, please.
Gene Goebel, 7 Quaker Lane. I was interested about the township's remediation agreement with 711 Concord Road. Mr. Donahue was kind enough to send me a copy. I made some responses back to Mr. Donahue and council. It appears that the property owners have not acted to perform anything within the deadline, wondering what's going on.
Well, that's not accurate. There has been some progress made. They have done, in fact, a lot of work. There's 3 remaining structures that we even instructed them to remove, but I'm going to let Mr. Klein, our township engineer, speak to some of that. And it's also my understanding that they have also provided a revised lighting plan, and that's also under review, but I'll let Mr. Klein speak to that.
Great, thank you.
Sure. So, yeah, first to the lighting. Approximately, I don't have the dates in front of me, a month or so ago, they'd submitted an initial lighting plan. My staff and I took a look at it. We provided them some feedback, and then I believe last Thursday or Friday, they provided us the revised lighting plan. So we are taking a look at that in regard to code conformance, and we will provide responses to that hopefully by the end of this week to their engineer. So that's the lighting. Regarding the site, I personally was on site Friday afternoon in the rain just to observe some of the recent activities per the request of the solicitor, and in the area behind the buildings where they had piled debris, materials, equipment, boulders, stones, trash, stuff for their business. Significant progress is made since my previous 2 visits. Most of that material has been removed. There are 3 large structures remaining, 2 storage trailers and 1 shed. I understand they're having some difficulties getting those relocated, but those are next on their list. There is also a piece of an old train out there that I'm just not sure they're going to be able to move. Besides that, majority of the items that were behind those buildings in that floodplain area, on my observing on Friday, had been removed.
I was there on Monday, not on 7/11, but on the park. Appeared to me the berms are still there.
I didn't say anything about the berms.
Okay.
I spoke to the debris and everything else.
All right. Well, I guess, was that not a requirement of the remediation agreement that the berms would be removed? Is there an agenda, for a schedule for that?
I don't have any information on the berm.
So does this carry on, and they will be appearing at the November 17th zoning hearing board if they're not in compliance with?
After they remove some of the other equipment, I'll make another assessment, and I'll let you know at that time.
The buildings that are parallel to the stream, I presume that's what you're talking about, a lot of the equipment having been removed.
Correct.
The opposite side of the stream, there's a structure by itself that, according to the most recent survey, there's like a 12 feet or 12 feet from the property line to that structure. That's got 25 feet of stuff going onto the park. And in fact, even I think they acknowledge that semi-trailer that's partially on the grist mill. Can you take a look?
There are, I don't know what you mean by the opposite side of the stream. Though, on the
has like 3 garages and a second story.
I can tell you, within the floodplain, there's still 3 structures that we asked them to remove, 2 trailers and a shed that have not been relocated as of yet. I'm not aware of any discussion on buildings or setback issues at this point.
So when you use the word floodplain, as well as the phrase floodplain is used in the remediation agreement, what floodplain is that? That township floodplain conservation district map, the 100-year flood, the 500, what floodplain are you referring to?
I'm utilizing the floodplain provided by their design engineer per FEMA.
Right. So Mr. Kelly, their engineer, depicted what he called a FEMA 100-year map line, which A, isn't accurate. Do you know what the difference between zone AE and zone X is on a FEMA map?
I do.
Okay.
Would you like to have this discussion at the zoning hearing board? I don't think this is a discussion for this evening. I mean,
Well, okay, so I'm asking you about the agreement.
Excuse me. We got 90% of the debris removed from this area, which I'm considering progress that we've been battling all summer. So that's my update for this evening.
All right, I agree, there's some progress.
Next up is to resolve the lighting, which I've been on your property, and I'm looking forward to the lighting being resolved next.
Okay,
I'm going to try to continue the positive momentum to resolve these
Right.
situations to the maximum of my ability, and I'm close. And I'd like to continue that positive momentum.
okay, I would like to submit for the record a letter from Bill Bradford, the National Flood Insurance Program Manager. I received this almost 2 years ago. Now, so this talks about his expectations, conservation flood map that is to be enforced per the floodship, not that line that Mr. Kelly drew. In 1998, prior township officials had held prior owners to the township map, which is almost that entire property. So I think there should be some consistency.
If FEMA and/or DEP reaches out to us, we'll certainly reply.
There's the letter from the National Flood Insurance Program with their expectations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And one last comment on the agenda. The public meeting minutes, like tonight, you voted and approved what happened in October. Is there a way to make those public prior to you voting? It appears to me that the public is supposed to have an opportunity to comment before you vote on official business.
Yeah, I believe that we can post a draft of the meetings. I mean, until we approve them, they're only in draft form. So we would need to note that those are draft. But I have no problem posting those online in advance of the meeting for review.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Moving right along with the agenda. Under old business, Nate, we wanted to keep, and we've had a tickler in our meeting agendas for a number of months regarding Schoolhouse Lane and Baltimore Pike. Can you maybe bring us up to speed where we are? I think you've put some numbers and some price tags on some specific scopes of work
Yeah,
for us
so
to consider, and what action the council would like to take next.
Sure. So, yeah, we've been talking about this. This is probably actually going on almost a year at this point. PennDOT was kind enough to join us for a meeting a couple months ago, which we notified the residents in this vicinity. We had some good dialogue with council. This is the intersection. Nope, that's not the intersection. There we go. Thank you, thank you. That's actually pretty good right there. Intersection of Schoolhouse and Baltimore Pike. This is a little bit of a rehash for everybody, but just briefly, what we are looking at is not signalizing this intersection. That was really not an option as far as PennDOT was concerned. So we were looking at what the other alternatives are. We have essentially come up with really 6 different alternatives here that can all be combined together, and it's going to expand outside this region. So what we're looking for tonight, and I'll walk through the items, but is just some direction from council to proceed with these items. The initial kind of short-term, let's call it easy items, would be initially be making modifications to the adjacent 2 signals. That would be at Stony Bank and Baltimore Pike, and at Cheney and Cheney and Baltimore Pike. And what we would do there is modify the signals, add left turn phasing to allow vehicles to move out of those intersections more quickly. That way, they will not be seeking alternative routes like Schoolhouse Lane. So we think that will have an impact, and that's a little bit what we call low-hanging fruit. We can submit that to PennDOT, get that permit approved, and we can make that happen very quickly. Additionally, what we will do is request PennDOT to essentially implement a plan similar to this, where we would provide what we call flexible delineators that would then cordon off this area so you would be able to make the left in the schoolhouse, but you would not be able to come out of schoolhouse and make the left out to media. We would work with PennDOT. PennDOT most likely will kick back either a response that they would take care of as part of one of their safety programs, or that we would have to implement it. We do not have that answer as of yet. Those 3 improvements, once we get the green light, we can get done very quickly. We have already implemented reflective signs on all the stop signs on the schoolhouse. And as I mentioned earlier, we're putting in stop bars all up and down Schoolhouse. Next, kind of the next 2 or 3 options that we considered would be looking if we could modify the intersection at Schoolhouse Lane, Cheney, and Trimble. Everybody can picture that on the way to the prison. And we're considering maybe making that a 4-way stop there to improve safety there. So next would be approaching PennDOT regarding that. They had denied that historically, but with some of the increased traffic, we think it's probably time to reapproach PennDOT and see if they would consider that. That would be very easy to implement, and again, something we can do quickly and in the near future. And then kind of the last 2 items, and these probably are what I would call more longer term, would be a permanent restriction here. So again, taking something like this scenario that we would say, they say is somewhat temporary because it could be removed, and making it permanent. Permanent wouldn't be installing concrete islands and things of that nature. Out here in front of the township building, that's still technically a temporary situation. When PennDOT comes through and redoes Baltimore Pike, at this point probably next year, they're going to replace a lot of that temporary stuff with permanent concrete barriers. So that would be the ultimate long-term goal here that we could pursue. But again, that could be kind of a question or a problem for another day. And then the last item to discuss really would be creating a deceleration lane. Deceleration lane would be if you're traveling southbound on Baltimore Pike so that you can make the right-hand turn on the schoolhouse. That can be kind of a tough turn to make, barreling down Baltimore Pike trying to make that right-hand turn. And providing a deceleration lane seemed to be something that was of a lot of interest to a lot of the residents in that community. And I think that would pay some benefits as well. So I did prepare a memo dated October 4th that I transmitted to everybody. And essentially, we're looking for more or less the green light to proceed on those. And I think the only thing we would not proceed at this time would be that permanent restriction. I think that's something we would wait until after it's implemented and then determine if we wanted to spend the cost to do something like that in the future. So I can answer any questions, get more specific as needed.
Yeah, Nate, I do have some questions, if you would. Your letter of October the 4th, the second, third, and fourth paragraph. We'll look at the second paragraph first. You talk about the signage and striping plan. It says plans will be submitted to PennDOT for review and approval. Has that been done yet?
No, we were waiting for council's authorization tonight. We were anticipating maybe having that in November. It became October item became a November item.
In the next paragraph, you talked about the deceleration lane. So I assume nothing's been done on that as well?
Correct.
So you're waiting for the council to authorize you?
Correct.
Okay. And then the final one is the 4-way stop. It requires PennDOT approval, and you will revisit the discussion with PennDOT immediately. Has that been done?
No, again, just waiting for the green light.
So I think the council needs to decide if we want to move forward at this point, whether we have money in the budget for this year or whether this is something that was not foreseen and we need to take care of it next year. So, yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would like to move forward on as many of these as we can. I mean, it's almost coming up to a year now from when that fatality occurred. And I would like to see something move forward. So, I don't know, anyone else on council?
What's everyone else think?
Have an opinion on this? I mean,
That's why that's why we brought it up tonight. Let's see what everybody thinks, and somebody will once we agree on something, we'll make a motion to give Nate some direction on how to proceed best. Go ahead, Colleen, you had a button, or?
Yeah, I just had a question on the decel lane. So the recommendation is to look at doing that now or to wait until after some of the other improvements are completed?
No, good question, Colleen. I'm sorry. And initially my thought was yes, let's wait till that could be like a future improvement. That's going to be the most costly of all the projects. It might make sense to start working on some of that design. The sooner we can get that design done, the sooner we could make that happen. But that will be significantly the most expensive part of this whole process. So, budgetary-wise, if that's something we need to hold the line on for the time being, we could execute on the other ones and hold off on that till later.
I have a question for our manager. Do we have that type of funding in our budget presently, or do we need to wait until next year?
Well, you do not have that budgeted this year. Next year, we did budgeted some monies for schoolhouse lane improvements. So that's actually in there in the 5-year capital plan. However, the deceleration lane is something you all would need to talk about, because it was my original understanding that there was some other things in here that we were doing first to see how it went, and then the deceleration lane was sort of that last component of seeing if it was necessary. So that would be a council discussion potentially at our budget hearing that we can add into there as we move forward.
As one of seven, and having traveled that road quite a bit, living up there, I don't see that as being something that let's try everything else and see if this is going to work. I think the deceleration lane is equally as important as everything else, although it might be a longer-term project. But I do think that in order to improve the safety of this intersection, that deceleration lane has to be part of it. Now, whether we do it in 2022 or 23, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of time with PennDOT permits and getting
absolutely.
the drawings done.
Yep.
So perhaps, Nate, there would be enough to get the drawings started in 2022 for maybe a 2023 project.
We
It's
just
probably going to be about
literally
a year.
were whispering that.
Well, if you would listen to me when I whisper.
Well, what I would like to do, there's 7 items on here, ranging from $2,500 to $150,000. And I know the engineering takes some time from when you start to when you actually see a finished product with all the submissions to PennDOT and the approvals, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to make a motion that we tonight approve all seven of these items to be completed, so we can start them and give our engineer authorization to start on the design, communication with PennDOT, whatever it takes to get these 7 items completed. So that's in the form of a motion, Mr. President, that we move forward.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's one question on this. This permanent left turn restriction island. That means that there would be no left-hand turns permitted on the schoolhouse once that would be put in.
If it's right. I think, guys, if we're saying there's 7 items, I would suggest that number 6, permanent left turn restriction, we don't need to proceed with that yet. We can get the temporary installed and consider that as a future project if we felt there's a need to make it more secure or safe or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, John, are you okay with altering the motion to reflect that?
Sure. I mean, this is a plan, you know.
Okay.
Some things may not come to fruition. PennDOT might not approve it, but we just need to take one step at a time and get this project moving.
But I think what we're trying to emphasize here is council is committed to tackling the problems at this intersection. We're not going to be able to snap our fingers and get them all done instantaneously, but we are committed to making this a safer intersection. It's going to take some time between permits and drawings, but the things that can be done quickly will be done quickly. The engineering will be started, and the sooner we can get everything done, we will do. We're not going to stand as obstacles in the way of making this intersection more safe. We're going to do everything we can to make it more safe, but we do have budget constraints and things of that nature to deal with. All right, John, go ahead.
With all those words being said, what would you propose as a motion?
I think we would make a motion to say what you said, with the caveat that the permanent lane restriction might be deferred depending on what happens with the temporary lane restrictions, and see how that plays out.
I so move.
I second that motion to put this plan in place to begin the improvements on this intersection.
Any other questions or discussion? John?
Yes, so just sort of more general question. So when you talk about the left turn phasing, so there's currently no left turn signal then at those two lights?
Correct.
Okay. And it would just be for coming out of those roads, just that one side of the
Essentially traveling southbound, yep.
Okay. And then in terms of the 4-way stop at Schoolhouse, Cheney and Trimble, would that also include stop bars?
Of course.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, neat.
Thank you.
Guess you're going to
Started,
be, you're going to be busy. So you have it all ready by Tuesday? Okay, let me get my agenda out. Where did I put it? Here we go. Okay, under new business, resolution number 55, 2001, Parks Crossing Sewer Dedication. Mr. Gillespie, I think you have that there.
Yes, I do. Do we need to read the resolution or just give a summary?
Just give a summary, that's good enough. It's been out there for a while.
This has been around for a long time. It's a outstanding sewer dedication that we're finally able to get completed. The housing development on Baltimore Pike, the old Pulsation site. There's a lot of history with the project due to the original developer not finishing the project. There's public and private sewer infrastructure in this development, and this is the dedication for the sewer infrastructure, sewer main and piping, only in the public right-of-way. That's in the form of a motion for Resolution 55-2021.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
John, I think this next one is parallel to that, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
It's a little bit different. This is the acceptance of Park Crossing Sewer Operation and Maintenance Agreement. This is the accompanying document to the one we just approved, as it outlines the operation and maintenance agreement of the private portion of the sewer lines within the HOA responsibilities. Because these lines are in private roads, it's a little bit different. Sometimes there's a public road and a public sewer. In this particular case, there's a private road with a public sewer. So it's a little complicated, but that's in the form of a motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
John, you also have Resolution 56, Beaver Valley
56
Sewer
of
Service.
2021. This is the Beaver Valley Sewer Service Area and Fee. This is a resolution to outline the sewer fees and service area for specific addresses that are able to connect to the new sewer infrastructure that was recently installed on Beaver Valley Road. This calls for a tapping fee of $9,000 per property, and also there are vacant lots, and they would pay the capacity as well as the tapping fee in the amount of $4,892. This is as recommended by the Sewer Committee, and just bringing it here to council for further approval. So that's in the form of a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Crossing, you're going to take care of the horse thing, whatever it is. Okay, go ahead.
Concord Township has a 9.5-acre fenced parcel at Bush, located on Garnet Mine and Bethel Roads, which is Bush Hill Farm. And we have a lease for a one-year term to the tenants Kathy Pretesto and Cindy Garcia for use of that pasture for horses. And so the lease is attached as Exhibit A, and I move it as resolution number 57.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve resolution number 57? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 58, 2021, final land development, JZ Realty. Nate, do you have that to put up on the screen?
Amanda will pull the plan up. The owners are here in the front joining us tonight. This is a site that, nope. Don't have it up. So briefly, this is the site at the northwest corner of the intersection of Conchester Road and Alden Avenue. It's the vacant site, essentially across from Cott Beverage and Costco. It's been vacant as long as I've been here, I think. The applicant here is approaching the township to build a 7,200 square foot contractor building. Essentially use that site for their contracting business, as they explained it at the Planning Commission meeting, relocating from the city out to the suburbs here. Hold on, let me see what you. No,
Oh. In the old days, we used to get an easel and just put the plan out.
Their design engineer, Dan McKenna, that's.
Okay, well, anyway.
Anyways.
I have it. It'll come up.
There, while she continues to pull up.
Okay.
So anyways, they got the zoning hearing board, they had to get a variance regarding the front yard setback, as well as a special exception. That was issued back in January. The Planning Commission recommended approval at their meeting last month. Yeah, that's good right there. Yep, that's perfect. As you can see, again, this is the kind of the, I guess it's technically the northeast corner of Conchester and Alden. Cott Beverage would be to the south of the bottom of the sheet. Costco would be to the left. There's a small stream corridor that goes to the rear. If anybody's been there, it's essentially kind of a gravel cleared site. kind of sloped off. They're locating the building based on their geotech reports, kind of, putting the building in the right spot there. They'll have one entrance, a fenced-in yard for their equipment, about half dozen parking spaces, stormwater management underneath the parking lot. So frankly, as far as a kind of a commercial type project goes, very straightforward. Pretty clean letters at this point. They're working on, they're going to have a holding tank with DEP. They're in that private sewage treatment plant area, so they're looking at a holding tank. They're working through that. So I don't know if there's anything I didn't cover on that that you guys want to chime in on. Anything I missed?
And introduce yourself, too.
Good evening. Thank you for your time and consideration tonight. I am Ron Zawodzki, the owner of JZ Realty Management and RZ Contracting. I think we pretty much covered everything,
Yeah.
and but I'm here for any questions.
Well, was this A. John's old site?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
John, yeah.
No, it's been empty for a while, and I'm glad somebody's finally using it. And it's as good a use. It's consistent with what an industrial park's supposed to be. And I think for a while there, he had equipment parked on there, so not like it's a stretch to do this. So it looks like we have a resolution number 58 of 2021, which would approve this land development plan. And it's subject to, I think, 12 conditions. Number 1 is compliance with all comments contained in the Pannoni Review Letter dated October 1, 2021, attached as Exhibit A. Number 2, compliance with all comments contained in the Delaware County Planning Commission Review Letter dated August 20th, Exhibit B. Number 3, compliance with all comments contained in the Thomas Community Associates Review Letter dated September 16th, 2021, Exhibit C. Number 4, compliance with all comments contained in the Fire Marshal's email dated September 9, 2021, Exhibit D. Number 5, compliance with all comments contained in the Township SEO's September 9, 2021 email, including PADEP approval of the proposed holding tank, Exhibit E. Number 6, compliance with the Concord Township Zoning Hearing Board decision in order dated January 22nd, 2021, and each of the conditions set forth therein, Exhibit F. Number 7, applicants shall submit color architectural elevations and color board materials for review and approval by council prior to the release of the signed plans. Approval of the elevations and material for the building shall be obtained prior to the issuance of any building permits. All building improvements are to be constructed as per the improved architectural elevations, including screening of any rooftop mechanical equipment. Number 8, developer agrees to enter into a development and improvement security agreement prior to the release of the signed plans. Number 9, plans are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township engineer. Number 10, neither loading or unloading construction vehicles nor parking on Alden Avenue is permitted. Number 11, an executed operation and maintenance agreement as well as contribution to the municipal stormwater control and BMP operations and maintenance fund is required in the amount of $6,179. And lastly, payment of an open space park and rec fee in lieu in the amount of $2,345 as per Resolution 6 of 2021 shall be made prior to the release of the signing plan. And it looks like it was a granting of one waiver from 169H to allow joint preliminary final plan submission. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make the motion to approve that resolution.
Any questions?
Yes, I just had a question with regard to the building setback from the stream. My understanding was that when we updated our stormwater management code, buildings now have a 100-foot riparian buffer, not 35 any longer. So I'm asking Nate for clarification.
And I'm pulling it up as we speak, try and get that clarity for John. I had brought that up in my original review letter, and their engineer had clarified the interpretation of it, and I'm trying to just track that language down right now for John.
Sequence, so we got it. I'll tell you what we could do. Nate, how Gonna need a few minutes there?
I think I'm almost there. Just give, if you can, I apologize, it's hard to do it on the fly, but,
Could move down to item number 9. Okay,
so yeah, I'll clarify for everybody's sake. So John was correct. So when we updated the stormwater ordinance 2018, I want to say, we included increased buffers for various stream corridors. Okay? And I had made a comment in my original review letter indicating that that was required for, let's call it the northwest corner of this building. That kind of gray area is the stream corridor. However, the code also has a provision that if the lot is in existence when this was adopted, a reduced buffer can be provided. And they've met the requirements and provided the reduced buffer.
okay.
I'm sorry, to clarify, but it says, if the applicable rear side yard setback is less than the required riparian buffer width of 100 feet, it may be reduced 25% or 100. In this case, there, so it doesn't, that's not applicable. It's only in the event that the rear or side yard setback is less than the required riparian buffer. So this has required riparian buffer setback, therefore the requirement stands. Not able to.
Yeah, it gets a little challenging.
All right, so where are we at with this?
I believe we need to table this. Because I believe we need to table this and not take action tonight because I don't believe that this plan is in conformance with code.
Where are we in the clock, though? We need to make a decision this evening? Does this have to go tonight?
Amanda's got to check that.
Something with the repairing, close to the 100 feet.
When we updated the stormwater management code, the riparian buffer is 100 feet. And
Tell you what, Gillespie has a suggestion, if we did not give the waiver, if we give a preliminary, wait.
No, yeah, it's confusing, and I gotta think on this a little bit more, and we might need interpretation on this. As it was kind of approached to me, it made sense at the time, but John's kind of pointed out a different perspective on it that I hadn't thought of, so.
Where are we with? The applicant be willing to give us a 30-day extension? Work this out? Amanda, could you get some paperwork done? Okay, just so we got it. We'll deal with this in December.
Play it safe, get the 30 days.
Yeah, look,
Okay.
we're here to work with you, but there seems to be some.
I apologize for any confusion this
Okay.
evening, so.
Yeah, have your engineer call me tomorrow,
Okay.
and we'll get into the
Amanda, then you'll
nitty-gritty on
get
it.
him a thing
Yeah.
to give us a, so you're agreeing to give us a 30-day extension?
Yes, that's
Thank you.
fine.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Not a problem.
Okay,
Okay.
I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda, I guess what we're going to have to do then is Resolution 58 is no longer, Resolution 59 will now become 58. And Mr. Crossan, you're going to handle that one, correct?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is the resolution number 58 is the final minor subdivision of the Chetty property
That's right, guys.
located on Featherbed Lane. This is to facilitate the subdivision of the existing lots to facilitate the acquisition of the open space and the conservation easement. So this moves the lot lines to create two lots, one consisting of,
It's up, John.
oh, there we have it up there. So it creates two lots. One is 8.83 acres. That would be Lot 2, which would be transferred in ownership to the township for open space. And Lot 1 is 34.47 acres, which consists of the barn, carriage house, and associated buildings, which will be placed under conservation easement. The plan's been reviewed by Delaware County Planning Commission, Concord Township Planning Commission without objection. And the plan this is for approval with the following conditions: signed, sealed surveyor certificate of placement of monuments and pins filed with the township prior to the recording of the signed plan. Plans that are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township engineer. Subdivision is subject to all conditions outlined in the agreement of sale, and all deeds for the properties, legal descriptions, and or easements are to be submitted for review and approval by the township engineer and township solicitor prior to release of the signed plans. There are 3 waivers here, noted requiring the plan to be drawn at a scale of 1 to 50 inches, requiring all existing contours and all existing tree masses and notable trees. Mr. President, I so move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, John.
Seconded.
Okay, Mr. Gillespie has a question.
Mr. Crossan, I know this came up at the County Planning Commission, and there was an issue with the lot line, the way they were creating the lot line. Was there an encroachment, or there's a building in the way, or was that ever corrected, or what was the issue?
Yeah, so there's currently a small tenant house there's a tiny little, basically non-conforming parcel on Featherbed that contains a tenant house. And the tenant house is going to be demolished as part of this work. So the lot line is actually on the left side of the house. So there's no setbacks there, but the house will be demolished as part of this.
Basically, it's a non-issue.
Correct.
Because that part of the building will be demolished.
The whole building will be demolished.
building.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right,
Do
thank
we
you.
have a motion and a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 59 of 2021 is the non-uniform pension plan document. Amanda, can you give us a little Cliff Notes version of this, please?
Absolutely. So every so many years, about 6 years, the IRS updates a lot of their language regarding pensions. And as such, the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System, who holds our pension for us, this IRS restatement is required for us to amend our contract language to make sure we're meeting the law and the amended language as part of the IRS. So this is something that I'm only here 4 years, so I imagine 6 years ago a very similar thing was done. It could be done, our ordinance isn't changing, it's just the contract to meet the IRS new language.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the pension contract IRS language update?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 60, the Frail property. John, you want to handle that one too, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have another open space opportunity here, and in this case, this is an expansion of current open space. The township purchased a property from the late Mr. Zeckman on Beaver Valley Road, and this property was a little over an acre and contained the historic Newland log house, which we just moved in conjunction with the Newland grist mill. Next to that is a vacant piece of land at the corner of Beaver Valley Road and Brandywine Street, and this is for the acquisition of that property. It is a 0.29 acre piece of property, so relatively small in its own right, but it does expand our existing site and provide us with township open space from the apartments and where the bus stop is on Beaver Valley Road all the way down to the corner of Brandywine Street. With the Newland log cabin now moved, we have plans to create a small pocket park here for the Brandywine Summit neighborhood, and this provides greater flexibility for that space. So we have an agreement of sale prepared, and I move that the township authorize professionals to execute the agreement of sale and order the appraisal, title documents, et cetera, all needed for closing by the stated date of December 4th.
Okay.
And let the record reflect that this is subject to the appraisal of the property being equal to or greater than the agreed upon purchase price, and approval again by council at a public meeting, by public vote.
Okay. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Voice Your Vision final report acceptance. We participated in this program for what, over 5 or 6 months? Or okay, it's been a while, and I think we're closing it out. Amanda, you want to give us a little update where we are? Dana, I think you also were very involved in this. So if you have any comments, we would certainly appreciate them. But where are we with the process?
So we are all wrapped up, and we received the final report. We have the, also, we were having issues with the video feed that we received with the download and trying to get it up on our site for that closing meeting that we had virtually. So we will have that up on the website and the final report tomorrow. Council members were given the final report. It outlines what was done and strategically our plan and objectives that we have moving forward that came out of the project. So we will be talking about some of those items during the budget hearing. And some of those items you have already moved on very quickly. So I'll leave it to council to discuss any of those if you'd like now or later. And we are going to be discussing more on the long-term initiatives moving forward, which are really great, give us focus points in the office and with council.
We need a motion to accept this, right?
Yes, I would say that would be great, and we'll post it up on the website.
Nina, do you have anything you want to add? Because you were very involved in this.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone that participated. We had a few different types of engagements. We had an online survey, and then we had a couple live meetings at different locations throughout the township, and then we had a few virtual meetings. So it was nice to see a variety of formats and ways to engage with our residents. And we hope that we can utilize the information that we learned to further improve our communication and engagement with our residents. So I'll make that in a motion.
Okay,
form
do
of a motion.
we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have the opportunity of refinancing some bonds, sewer department debt, and we have Jeff Calhoun here, who has given us some numbers, and maybe will give us a brief explanation. I think we requested that the rates are lower, and perhaps it's time to refinance.
Good evening. Yes, as you noted, the 2016 bonds are considering to be refunded. The enactment of the ordinance will be considered on the November 16th meeting. On a thumbnail, the rate as of close yesterday was 1.63%, 1.64%, which is significantly lower than the 2% and 3% coupons that you are paying on the 2016 bonds. That results in a savings as of close today of $442,000, obviously subject to market movement in your favor or against your favor in between now and enactment. But as of now, you'd be saving a significant amount of money.
Okay. I think we are required to have a hearing for an ordinance for this, Mr. Donahue, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And if council would agree, I think we are scheduled to have a budget hearing here on November 16th. And if we could do this ordinance hearing, properly advertise it to do it that same evening. Is that agreeable? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think if we should schedule them both to start at 7. We would probably do this one first. And then.
Oh, yeah, we have plenty of time. I've actually talked to Mr. Calhoun about the ordinance when we need it to get, so that'll get, we have it drafted already. and that'll get moving. We'll get an advertisement out Friday, we talked about, and that way you'll be ready to have the ordinance hearing on the 16th. Plus, I believe, if I'm not wrong, I know we have the charter, but the Governmental Unit Debt Act does take some precedence there in terms of where our law sits with theirs. But so that is fine. You have plenty of time. If you have the hearing on the 16th, then you can adopt at your December 7th meeting.
I'll make a motion that we schedule a hearing for November 16th to consider the refunding of the general obligation bonds for the 2016 series. That would generate a savings to the township of potentially up to $442,000.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I have a question.
Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Calhoun, looking at the chart that we have, if this would go through, what would the total amount of savings be over that period up to December of 2034?
442,000 as of close today. Obviously.
Very good. So we would be saving that amount of money.
Correct.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
And Mr. Calhoun, we look forward to receiving the draft ordinance. And could you also indicate to council, too, at the time of the hearing, what costs are going to be involved in this so they can make a decision with respect to the savings versus cost, okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm sure we'll see you on the 16th then.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Put it in your calendar. I think this is... Next is item number 11, authorize the advertisement. This is the sexiest thing we're going to do tonight, bid for sludge removal. Go ahead, John.
Okay, very, very interesting. Sludge removal contract is basically up and needs to be rebid for the next year. Once approved, the sewer engineer will prepare the documents and advertise. This can be done quickly, and we plan to award it in December. So the current contract is held by McGovern, and this contract is worth basically $115,000 per year. So that's in the form of a motion to advertise for bids.
Do we have a second?
Dana.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Crossan, I think we have a bridge problem somewhere, or?
Well, it's not a bid. We have a bridge, but hopefully no problems. So we wanted to authorize the township engineer to perform structural evaluation of a former Octorara train bridge, which is along the proposed Octorara Trail route. With the Rails to Trails project, it's converting the old train rails to pedestrian and bike trails. And in this case, we are looking to ensure that that bridge is structurally sound. So I move that we authorize the township engineer to do so.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Gillespie, you have a certificate for payment.
Yes, this is the landscape contract, certificate for payment number 4, and also a change order number 2. So the certificate for payment, which is in the final amount, $28,402.97. Contract change order number 2, there's an overall increase of $12,000, which is included in this payment. So that's in the form of a motion that'll close out this contract.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There are no escrow releases. We need a motion to accept this complete for filing. Subdivision plan for 620 Concord Road, final minor subdivision. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Other council matters. Mr. Ignazio, I think you're here to talk to us about an ordinance hearing request regarding a text amendment for agricultural use. Welcome.
I am Michael D'Ignazio. My office is in media. This matter has been reviewed by the Delaware County Planning Commission, this text amendment, as well as your Township Planning Commission. Both reviews were favorable for the text language. I'm sure everyone up there, sitting up there, knows what facility we're talking about. quite a unique event provider in that we've recently been granted the #1 winery in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's also of international prestige now, 2 gold medal wins, 2 gold medals from the Berlin Wine Festival, and that's Berlin, Germany, not Berlin, New Jersey. So, with the installation of the sewer line, we become the western terminus. We become, the winery is the western terminus of that line. And because we're going to take advantage and connect with that line, we've decided that we're going to invest substantial sums in modernizing the winery itself and the tasting room. And so to bring the zoning code of the township into first defining what a winery is, you have no definition over this long time, and indicate how many acres, vineyard acres, would be necessary to be continued to keep an open space with regards to this type of use. We've prepared, and as I said, both planning commissioners recommend your adoption of this proposed text amendment. If you want me to go through the Delaware County Planning Commission, because I know your township planning commission has responded to you, the board, with a letter, but the Delaware County Planning Commission did come out with it.
I think we would have time for each member to review that prior to the hearing. If I'm checking with Amanda earlier today, we would have the date of December 14th open, if that works with everyone's schedule, to host a hearing. Could be 1 hearing, could be 2. You know the drill, just like everyone else.
Sure.
It would have to be posted. For anyone that's wondering, for our audience members, this is the Penswood Winery, okay, down on Beaver Valley Road. And as Mr. Ignazio so eloquently put, it's an operation that really doesn't have a zoning district. There are a lot of other vineyards and wineries in Pennsylvania, and we're using some of those ordinances as models. Not to say they will go through just as they were written, but they are a good template to get started with. And we do need to have a hearing in order to discuss this and then take testimony and decide on whether we want to go ahead with it or not. So if everyone's okay, I guess we would need a motion to advertise a hearing date of December 14th.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
When Chick-fil-A was here, we asked for samples, and they didn't bring any. So I guess you're not bringing any either.
I'll bring them on the 14th.
So I will note that they were they came to our arts festival and were well received as a vendor at our arts festival.
All right. Well, anyway, that was my subtlety. But anyway, all right. Moving right along. Upcoming township meeting and events on November 4th. We have the Park and Rec Board meeting. November 7th. As Amanda mentioned earlier, the American Hero Memorial Service Ceremony at 3 p.m. over at Smithbridge Road, correct? On November 11th, Veterans Day is a township holiday. The offices are closed. November 15th is the Planning Commission meeting. So I got another page here. Hold on. November 16th is the budget hearing, and also will be the hearing for the bonds refinancing. November 17th, Township Leaf Pickup Day for those that registered. November 17th, Zoning Hearing Board meeting. And November 26th and 27th, Thanksgiving, Township holidays, office closed. Hard to believe that's fast approaching. Any other comments?
Just one thing I'd like to note. At last month's meeting, we authorized the application for the Delaware County Greenways grants, and the Concord Township was successful in securing one grant that has been, the amount was $50,000. Tonight, Delaware County Council, I believe, took action to increase that to $250,000, and so that will be a $250,000 grant from the county towards the Chetty acquisition. So
Great.
Pleased to report that progress.
Great news, great news. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you for coming out this evening.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.